Can you tell me what you're working on in terms of the Hermitage project?
One of the key objectives of the whole Hermitage project is to, assess interaction between climate, natural science, and environment to see how they interrelate, interact together. In other words, the whole Hermitage project tries to couple some of these complex models together. And one of the easiest way to do it is to try to replace some of those complex models with their emulated version. So what do I mean by emulated version is that there is a thing we call statistical emulators, which can approximate the function of some of those complex models. So, and that is how my own PhD works, lies. So I'm a statistician by background, and my main focus here is to construct emulators for some of those complicated models.
So I understand that you're working on particularly looking at vegetation. The planet is covered in all kinds of vegetation, from the sort of formal gardens that we're sitting in at the moment to the rainforests in the equatorial region. So can you tell us a little bit about why vegetation is important in the climate change scenario?
The vegetation dynamics is a very huge area of, let me say, opening up, diversity in research. In our own aspect of vegetation is to be able to assess how climate impacts the vegetation, and we try to assign the effects, the impacts that those climatic impacts are on vegetation in general, in terms of maybe affecting the biodiversity. So the vegetation, for instance, it has a lot to do with global carbon cycle, and because of the high significance of carbon in the whole terrestrial ecosystems, because it is kind of try to regulate the amount of carbon that goes in to the terrestrial ecosystem and that also goes out. So the vegetation in general play a very critical role in regulating the carbon movements. That is one. Then another part again is that if you try to focus on some crop, for instance, there are quite a lot of crop that they are source of foods for human beings, and when all those vegetation are being affected, maybe due to climate change, wherever, it may tend to reduce the amount of global yield, and that of course have a lot of impact and some other form of multiplier effect.
So is there some kind of conflict between needing to preserve the rainforest to keep the carbon cycle going, but also needing to deforest in order to plant things like rice and wheat to feed a growing population?
There's not really a conflict, but there is a kind of maybe trade-off, like as you attempt probably maybe to grow more rice or wheat so as to improve maybe food security, then you at the same time try to put it at the back of your mind that when you are also increasing, maybe you are planting more crops, for instance, to increase the food supply, then you also try to note that there are some other activities that might also come in place, like maybe you want to clear some bush in form of deforestation to grow another form. So it's actually interrelated somehow, and it needs, it takes some critical looks to really disentangle each one of them.
So in terms of the future and climate change, are you optimistic or pessimistic?
Oh yeah, the future is really characterized by very high degree of uncertainty. So nobody really knows what can, but scientists are just trying to considering different kind of scenarios that might evolve in the future, and they try to work around, like if we have this particular scenario, what are the likelihood that the whole terrestrial ecosystem will still be conserved. Then if we have this other scenario, so they try to work within and trying to assign uncertainty as in the degree when they make some measurement, for instance, so they assign that error of approximation to it, like within this interval, or we are confident that within this and this could happen. So, and with that, so we could keep going. But nobody could really say that in next 50 years, this is exactly what is going to happen. It's a very, it's a very tricky question, yeah.